Today's episode of the BS Podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek, our presenting sponsor, and the only fan-friendly app for buying and selling tickets for sports and music. Just 2 taps on your phone. Instantly, you could buy SeatGeek tickets to an event, have them delivered to your phone, enter the event. So why not drop your old ticket app? Use one that's built for 2016. Again, do everything on your phone. We love SeatGeek. Download the free SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com. We're also brought to you by The Tim Ferriss Show, selected as one of iTunes' best of 2015 podcasts. Tim deconstructs world-class performers from every walk of life, business, sports, art, investing, and more to find the tools, tactics, and routines you can use. Past guests include Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Foxx, Laird Hamilton, and serial billionaire Peter Thiel. The episode with Schwarzenegger discusses the art of psychological warfare and never told before movie stories. Visit 4hourworkweek.com/Arnold. I've met Tim Ferriss. He's a good guy. We're also brought to you by TheRinger.com, the Ringer Podcast Network, and my new HBO show, Any Given Wednesday. New episodes every Wednesday night, 10 p.m. You can watch the first 7 episodes and every bonus clip we've done on HBO Now, HBO Go, and HBO On Demand. I would urge you to watch this week's episode. We had Seth Rogen, Ricky Williams, and my old buddy Rembert Brown. And we ended up doing a weed round with Seth Rogen and Ricky Williams, who I introduced as the Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig of the weed round. People like that one, so I would check that out if you have a chance. And finally, we're selling merchandise on The Ringer, helping to raise money for our friends at charitywater.org. The link is right on our website. It says merch, hoodies, t-shirts, sweatshirts, you name it. And don't forget to check out the Ringer Podcast Network because we continue to crush it. And don't forget to check out theringer.com either. Let's do it.
Yeah. Clear enough for you.
Taping this on a Thursday, so Thursday rolling.
Yeah.
A bunch of guests on this podcast. I'm not even going to promote all of them. We have so many guests I don't even know who's coming on. But Chris Ryan's here right now.
Hey,
from
what's
the
going
on? Dream Team.
Yeah.
Olympics.
We call them a dream team? I don't think so.
What are they called? Redeem Team 3?
I think it's played a little bit like the Hangover team yesterday.
The Hangover Team.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that. Blame it on Rio?
Galifianakis, Cooper. Yeah. Yesterday's game against Australia, it felt very much the product of those guys going to watch the swimming the day before and then going up to Michael Phelps and be like, what are you doing tonight, man?
And he's like, I can't. I got a race tomorrow.
Yeah. And they're like, well, we're going to go to a spa, but maybe you can come out and join us later.
So you think these guys are having too much fun?
No, I mean, they're on the boat. How much trouble can they really get in? That's not even the thing. It's just, I think that they just seemed a step slow yesterday, and everybody had a bad shooting night at the same time. I was kind of wondering a little bit about the, you know, when they get to the Final Four and they have to go play in like the Syracuse Stadium, was at the Carrier Dome or wherever they have to, and their field of vision gets messed up because the stands are already different. It looked a little weird in there, didn't it?
It did.
And they like the color scheme is strange and like there's no fans anywhere around them. I wonder if that throws off like your shooting at all.
My takeaway is that it's a very beatable team that wasn't terrifically constructed. And I'm surprised JJ Redick wasn't on this team. I would have overloaded on shooters. I have no idea why Harrison Barnes is on this team. I can't for the life of me figure it out. It's the weirdest pick. You could have taken anyone from the top 10 3-point shooting, but there was a moment in that game when nobody could make shots.
Yes.
And we were all watching. We had a big Rigor NBA meeting, so we had all of our basketball people here. And nobody could make shots, and we were like, what is the crunch time 5 if like they're down 4?
Yeah, the question also is like, why bring Draymond if you're not going to let Draymond be Draymond?
Yeah. How is DeAndre playing over Draymond? Draymond's the perfect international basketball guy. I don't know. Our theory was that maybe the Snapchat thing was like a penalty for him.
Yeah, the K was just kind of like, you're going to sit it out.
Yeah, you've embarrassed the program.
It's also...
I don't condone of that Snapchat dick conduct.
He doesn't know what Snapchat is. I have $100 that says Coach K doesn't know what Snapchat is.
How do you think that went when they explained it to him? So, Coach K, there's this social thing called Snapchat. You take videos that disappear quickly.
Do you think? I think just like one bead of sweat came down his forehead. He didn't even he wasn't even able to verbalize his disappointment or his confusion. It was just like, you know, like your grandfather watching Avatar for the first time.
It's like, so it's Draymond's dick, but it wasn't the entire dick. It was just the top half. We don't know where it ended. It wasn't limp. And he immediately apologized. Coach K is like, he's our 11th man now. I can't condone that conduct.
I take your point with JJ. I do think that if you just did pure shooting around around one big man, that would be probably better than what they have right now. The
I guess I don't
Lowry
understand.
DeRozan thing
Yeah,
too. It's like,
why is DeRozan
is it
on
like
this
a
team?
package deal? And also, it just doesn't seem like those guys are really popping off. So it's two more guys. They basically have like wasted 3 spots. Plus, they're not playing Draymond enough.
Right. And then playing DeAndre a little too much, I think.
Yeah, play Kyrie, the Warriors, and Melo at the 5. I don't care. I mean, like, do something. Like, Melo played a little bit of 5 yesterday.
I like Kyrie. I like Clay. I like Durant and Melo. And I like Draymond. That's our crunch time 5.
Yeah.
Why is anyone else
And
playing
then
at crunch time?
Jimmy Buckets and Paul George to play 3 and D and kind of give energy and change.
Great.
Yeah.
I don't think when Paul George shoots in close Olympics games, I don't think they're going in.
No,
I don't feel the same way for
Nothing felt like it was
DeRozan.
going in yesterday. Australia was like 2 good shooters away from.
That's
really.
the thing. Like, if we had Kyrie, Clay, JJ, Durant, and Melo, it's over.
Yeah.
How do you guard those 5 guys and then put Draymond in? What? Hey, it's just weird. We didn't learn the lessons from the past. And then when they were firing up those bricks yesterday, and Australia started making plays, and it really came down to Joe Ingles. The much maligned Joe Ingles. But now he had a couple plays where if he had just been a competent basketball player a couple times, Australia could have won that game.
He usually just
If that was Ben Simmons in the Joe Ingles spot, I think
Ben
they would have
Simmons
won.
wasn't going to make any of those jumpers either.
No, but I think he would have gotten some of they wouldn't have gotten out rebounded like they did. He would have done more than Joe Ingles
Yeah,
did.
and they wouldn't have been running fast breaks that looked like they were diagrammed up in 1959.
And they did some good
This one's
double
called
clutch.
the Peach Basket.
They did some good double clutch alley-oops, white guy alley-oops from like
The
1954
Delhi alley-oop
Flash.
where Delhi got like 2 feet off the ground
Yeah.
was really great. Yeah.
It was a redemption of sorts for Delhi,
Yeah.
who really got buried in the finals and then was deemed expendable by the Cavs and the whole thing. I said we argued about Kyrie. I think Kyrie is the most polarizing guy in the Ringer office.
Right now?
I'm pro Kyrie. I think he's going to be awesome.
I don't
this
think you have
season.
a choice to be whether you're pro Kyrie or not. Like, that's what I don't get. It's like you can say he's overrated right now because we're all riding high, but that guy, like you said yesterday, he scored, what was it, 45 points in game 5. He's
fearless.
They drew up a shot for him in game 7. I mean, like, come on.
They drew up the biggest shot of the season coming out of a timeout was
It's the
Kyrie.
biggest shot in franchise history.
Yeah, Kyrie, we're gonna come out of this timeout. We're gonna get you in an ISO with Steph Curry, and you're gonna
Yeah.
make a shot over him. And we have LeBron James on our team, but you're our choice here. And LeBron's like, that's cool. He's gonna make this.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting what you were saying yesterday. Just like this
Thanks.
idea about what will the Cavs look like especially in the first half of the next season, and is it going to be like all Kyrie ball and maybe even try to get Kevin Love more involved and LeBron kind of be like, I gotta chill out.
The move for LeBron, unless he's just wired and built like nobody we've ever seen in the history of professional sports, is in year 14 to scale back in the regular season.
Yeah.
And just kind of pop in and out when he's needed. I would almost compare it to like
He should have a Rondo season. Show up for the national games.
I was thinking like a Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men type of
Yeah.
impact, where
Yeah.
it's just like he comes in for some impact scenes and they're huge scenes, but really it's a Cruz Demi Moore Kevin Bacon movie, and it's Kyrie's time to be Cruz.
Yeah. And Kevin Love can play, what was it, JT Walsh? Was that the character in A Few
Yeah.
Good Men who's Markinson?
You
Yeah.
use the first 4 months to get Kyrie and Kevin Love going,
Yeah.
and to get Thompson going, and to build on everything that you had last year, and Ty Lue's comfortable, and try out some things. And LeBron, I mean, I would play LeBron 58 games next season, unless he's looking at career records and thinking, all right, if I do this, 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 and this, then I'll have 40,000 points. Like he might. I don't know how he thinks, but he might be looking at the whole big macro picture now and be like, all right, I need one more title, 40,000 points.
He seems to take perceived like narrative slights a little bit more seriously than statistical challenges.
Yeah.
Because he probably could lead the league in scoring every year if he wanted to, but I think that he would see the formation in Golden State as like a more of an imposing. That's more of an imposition to him than like, oh, I got to make sure I catch up with this person or that person on the all-time scoring list.
I think he should have played in the Olympics. I just
don't
think it would have
blame
been
not
great for
playing.
him.
I also just this is also, are we manufacturing our like are we fake nervous about this? Like they're gonna win the gold.
I don't think it's a fake thing. I think it's a kind of a flawed team, and it's built around Durant and Melo have to be great for this team
But
to
we
win. And
expect them to
Kyrie's
be
got to hit
great.
big shots. Durant wasn't good in that Australian game. I thought he stunk. You know, I don't know. there's an alpha dog thing that always manifests itself in every Olympics, right? And in '08, there was this awesome moment when Wade was awesome in the '08 Olympics, but it's almost like because Kobe was there, he didn't play quite enough. I feel like Wade might have been the alpha dog, but Kobe was, at the height of his powers. But in that last game, it got really tense. Everybody started looking around, and Kobe's like, I got this. And he made some big shots, and he won. And it seems like Carmelo is that guy this year.
And Durant has to be the guy.
I expected Durant to be the guy, but I think maybe Carmelo is the guy. This is like stupid first take, hot take nonsense.
No, but it's
a really interesting question.
It's watching these guys decide. Because
Who's the guy?
There's going to be a moment where, yesterday was sort of weird. It was so physical, and the last 5 minutes took like 30 minutes, and there was just so much fouling and muscling around.
Goofy.
And they knew that was going to happen playing Delly and Bogut. Like, that was just going to be the way that those guys played. But there's going to come a time where somebody's going to have to be like, I'm taking 25 shots this game.
Or just, I don't like where this is going. We're up one all of a sudden. There's 3 minutes left. The crowd's going crazy for the other team. I'm going to stop this now.
There was a little bit of a reluctance to drive to the hoop, I think, also especially because they weren't really getting the calls
they
weren't
getting
wanted.
the calls. But like Durant in 2010 when the World Championships, I think they beat Turkey in the finals. It was kind of Durant's breakout moment.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm the guy. I got this, guys. Kobe in 2008, same thing. 2012, LeBron got in foul trouble in that gold medal game. And there was a moment when he couldn't get back in because of the international rules. It was like this 90-second stretch, and the lead was falling, and he couldn't get. And finally, he got back in. He did some stuff. He kind of righted the ship, and then I think Chris made a couple of big plays. But even like having Chris out there would make me feel better. I don't know if I trust Kyrie. But Kyrie scares me a little because Kyrie might be like, I got this, and just miss a couple shots.
Yeah, but it's like I'd rather have Kyrie try than Kyle Lowry kind of just do weird Kyle Lowry things. Even though I like Kyle Lowry a lot on the Raptors.
I don't trust Kyle Lowry. I don't trust DeRozan. I think you have to have been in that spot at least once in a stage where you actually won.
So you think they're missing one or two guys who have been there before?
Yeah, but they have some. Like Clay's been there.
Oh, we haven't even talked about this, but the other kind of waste of a roster spot, sadly, is Boogie.
Yeah, but he had to be in the team. It's just he's not playing well.
Yeah, but he's getting into foul trouble in the first 9 minutes at every game. So it's just like another guy where that could just be Kyle Korver or something, and they could be.
But the pick was defensible, right? It's
sure,
just, he's just been disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, this is I don't really even follow international coaching tactics that much, but. You also wonder whether maybe this is one too many Olympics for K.
No question.
And maybe
I thought yesterday he was playing the wrong guys.
Or just let Tibbs coach this one.
Yeah.
And just kind of have these guys just seemed like they could use a little bit more of a plan.
I agree with that. I think they panicked when guys started dropping out.
Yeah.
And they were DeRozan said he'd play. All right, let's get him. And these guys are all really good NBA players, but we've learned over and over that international basketball, you need specific types of players.
Yeah.
And I don't trust Barnes when he's shooting. I don't trust DeRozan. Kyle Lowry, his shot kind of comes and goes. The percentages are better than the eye test.
He's also like, he's an MFer. He's like,
that's the thing. He won't be afraid.
Yeah, he's like, if Delhi wants to tangle, we can tangle,
So I look around, I look at all these different countries. I don't see the scary opponent. There's teams that bring that, like Australia's feisty.
Yeah.
And they're going to hit people and knock people around. Bogut is totally motivated.
Croatia's fun.
Yeah, Croatia's fun. Spain's like a guy short, but you'll have to work. They'll post up Gasol. We're going to have to deal with that. Gasol's owned DeAndre Jordan forever. Like, that's going to be an issue. But there's not that one team that I think could just shoot us out. Like, the way to beat the Team USA is you got to make like 17 to 23s, and you have to have somebody who can post up. You got to put us on our heels. Guys start missing. People start looking at each other. But I guess that the most shocking thing for me, which isn't that shocking because it's been a running joke now for 8 years, but just how good Carmelo is in this format.
I know.
And how comfortable he is. And I wrote this 2 years ago for Grantland. I still think like he could have been the best guy on a title team. We'll never know. I think his window passed.
So you think that if he had gone, what were some of like
the analogy is Dirk in 2011.
Right.
You take a guy who's got a specific set of offensive skills, who's a forward, who's a tough matchup, who's not great defensively, who's somebody who creates shots for other guys based on the attention he gets, but isn't a creator. and somebody who's just money in the last 5 minutes and who makes big shots in a tough matchup. Carmelo could have been Dirk in 2011, I think. I don't know if he could have been the leader, but we've seen it work. And I was telling you today, I'm becoming more and more intrigued by this Knicks team.
Yeah.
Because Carmelo's in awesome shape. I think this is the best shape I've seen him in a couple years. And if he comes back and he's like taking all the momentum from this, I was the guy in that Olympic team. I'm one of the best 7 players in the league. And they have enough good players around him. The East isn't that great. I don't know.
Yeah, if Kristaps has like a good second season, there's no reason why they can't conference semis at least.
Yeah, if Kristaps does the second year jump.
Yeah.
And then you can get 30 minutes a game out of Noah. And Rose, the case for Rose is their point guards were so horrendous last year that even if Rose is the worst possible version of Rose, he's still better than Jose Calderon.
I just
last
also
year.
like Rose has everything to play for right now.
True. It's contract year.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally become he's become a punchline, and this guy was an MVP a couple years ago.
The Bogut thing pisses me off.
What about it?
I wish the Celtics had just traded the 31st pick in the draft for him. Just makes me
just
mad.
because you think he's like a good guy to have a team?
I don't like that Golden State was like, oh shit, we have to get rid of Andrew Bogut. It's like, this guy's a good center. This guy, you can get 20 to 25.
I think Andrew Bogut agrees with you based on how he was playing yesterday.
Well, did you see he was in awesome shape? He was motivated. He's doing stuff. I wish he was on the Celtics. It makes me mad that Dallas just got him for free.
Andrew Bogut is one of those guys. Juliet and I called him frail stars. But there's definitely like 2 times a game where he's walking up the court and you're like, he just tore a hamstring. Like he just tore it in half.
Well,
he's just like,
yeah. In person, it's painful to watch him run. He's one of those guys when he's running, you're like, ooh.
He used to be a pretty nimble, athletic guy too. Back when he was on the Bucks.
He's had a lot of bad luck injuries. I talked about that with him when I was in the pod. It was injuries like some guys are brittle and other guys just. They broke their elbow because they fell wrong and it bended the wrong way.
He got like his legs taken out from under him on a dunk, right?
He had 2 bad injuries that were just flukes. But I liked the way he was playing. I liked how motivated he was. That Australian team, if they had Simmons and Exum, because Exum's the other one.
Yeah, I mean, the Exum data, the sample size for Exum.
He might not even be good.
Right. I mean, he's probably better than Joe Ingles. I think we could safely say that.
Which, if you could add any star to this team, who would it be? LeBron?
To this U.S. team?
Yeah. Curry.
Yeah, because I think I see what the idea was in the sort of the way they were putting this team together, because it's not unlike the way you see a couple of international soccer teams put their teams together, where like we're gonna take the cores of 2 good club teams.
Yeah.
And if these guys all play together already, that's gonna be good for us. So Italy played with the entire Juventus defense, and England tried to use Tottenham and Liverpool as like the cores of their team. And I get the like, look, let's just get a bunch of Warriors, a couple of Raptors, and a couple of Thunder player, and we'll be great. And because of some people who dropped out, but I just think if Steph's on this team, this is like we've only had 1 competitive game, and I guess we were a couple points we were only up a couple of points on
that Australian game was too competitive. I thought for where we are as a country and the players that we have, that come on.
So if we're not going to get the very best of the best in the league, if we're not going to have LeBron and Chris Paul and Westbrook and Chris,
I've already made this case. I think we should go 25 and under.
Yeah. Because at least you'd be emotionally invested and there would be some suspense.
Well, and also I think it's good for those players.
Yeah.
I think it would be better for Kyrie if he knew he was the best player in the team. And I think it would be cool to have CJ McCollum out there instead of, a couple of these other guys. But it just seems like they're no man's land.
What was the starting 5 under 25s guys that you had?
I forgot about Davis, but I forgot about him because he was hurt. And I had Karl Anthony Towns in that spot, even though he can't legally play for our country. So that was a problem.
Yeah.
Bad research by me. So it'd be Davis would be on there. The Kyrie. I can't remember. CJ McCollum. I only picked 5 guys that were from the last few years, and then everybody else was young guys.
Yeah. I think that would be really fun.
Like that Aaron Gordon. Like, put Aaron Gordon in the dream team. He'll try to have the greatest dunk of all time over Bogut's head.
The only problem is that if those guys don't win the gold medal, then we have to go through this whole thing again, like the crisis in American basketball and those guys not taking it seriously enough. And then we'll go back.
Didn't we win that, though? I feel like we won that battle.
Yeah, I thought so, too. But
it's over. Yeah. Like, I'm not worried about American basketball. Like, we're better than everybody else. We have the best players. So let's...
There hasn't been this. So have you been watching other stuff besides?
Yes.
Yeah. And
I love the Olympics.
I love the Olympics too. I don't know whether it's the way it's being broadcast or the actual truth, but the main events, it seems like there's just not been a ton of suspense. There was
Well,
the
the gymnastics thing was a big body blow for NBC. Although maybe it didn't hurt the ratings, but just that they're that dominant.
Yeah.
That removed a domino for them. That
They
first week.
basically have to be like, they're going to win. It's a question of by how much and whether or not they're the greatest collection of gymnasts ever. You know?
And hold on. Do you know anyone who understands gymnastics points?
Not
Like,
particularly.
oh, there's 0.69 ahead of everyone else. It's like, great. I have no idea what that means.
I know a lot of people on Twitter who are gymnastics experts after reading 2 Wikipedias and hearing Tim Daggett talk about it for 3 minutes. They're like, oh, that wobble, it's going to kill her later.
It's like if somebody won the Super Bowl 120 to nothing. It's like, no, it's really not. It's not anything like that, actually. It's gymnastics.
Have you, what do you think of Allie Reisman's parents?
I love it. That's exactly how I am at every one of my daughter's soccer games.
You're a nervous fan?
I'm pacing the sidelines. Yeah.
It's an interesting counter narrative to see them be like, we're the reluctant soccer, like the reluctant gymnast parents. It's like, we knew this was going to be us. We didn't want this to happen. I like the neuroses involved in it. It's good.
I am very fascinated by the coaches.
Yeah.
And the relationships with the gymnasts, and I'm always, this is terrible, but there's always like a creep factor with coaches because we've read so many bad stories. So I always find myself silently judging the coaches and their motivations for why they're on the team. And it's like, ooh, that hug was a little
there's
long.
Also like a team coach, and then there's a lot of like individual coaches.
Yeah, I judge all of them. Okay. I always judge it by, if my daughter was out there, would I trust this guy? Would I trust that guy? The outfits worry me now as somebody whose daughter about to be a teenager. Sure. The beach volleyball outfits, I think, got a little skimpy. I've turned into that guy.
I really, really, really have gotten into team volleyball.
Team volleyball has been
indoor
great.
Volleyball has been amazing. Every 4 years, I go through amnesia and I forget all about it, and then it's just like the fake spikes are incredible.
Or like I'm setting it toward me, but instead I'm setting it behind
me. That's illegal, right?
Second.
Like Andrew Wiggins can't go
illegal.
for a fake alley-oop to distract somebody and then have Karl Towns come in right behind him and dunk it. That's not fair, right?
It's the first Olympics I've watched with my daughter, and she's fascinated by the bodies, and little kids notice things that we don't notice because we're so used to it, but she's fascinated by the different bodies and how the different types of bodies seem to work for different sports. Mm-hmm. So like the gymnast bodies they're all similar. They're like these stubby, like they're little power bodies. And the volleyball bodies are these long, they're like, they look like Alex Morgan if you just stretched Alex Morgan out and made her
Kim
6
Hill
inches
is
longer.
6'4", and she basically has I can't even imagine what her vertical is, but she's just like skying over people.
So the basketball players look like that, but they all have like bubble butts. Uh-huh. They basically the volleyball player with bigger butts. And then the swimmer bodies, they're all like high, everything's above the waist muscle, and then skinny legs.
Yeah, there's the guy who, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy does breaststroke who had like the inverted chest plate thing.
Yeah.
And he swam because it was good for his like body to grow out of that like deformity. That was a really interesting story.
So my daughter watches these things, and she's like, well, I never could have been a gymnast. I'm too tall. She's watching the swimming, and she's like, my legs are too strong. Like the swimmer legs are all like these skinny, like almost like runner legs. Mm-hmm. And then their upper body is just massive. And she keeps looking at like the volleyballs maybe the closest, but even their bodies, it's just weird. It's like hard to believe we produce so many different types of athletes. Yeah. That's one of the things that jumps out at me at the Olympics. Michael Phelps's body is like, we'll never meet anybody whose body looks like that.
This is a good focus group thing. Does she care at all about when this stuff is on?
No, she doesn't know. I don't even think my daughter understands. I don't even think she knows this stuff's tape delayed.
Okay.
I think when you're a little kid, you just assume everything's happening live. She thinks my show is live, even though I'm sitting right next to her watching
Greenwald and I were talking about whether or not the Olympics should just be basically like a 2-week first weekend of March Madness situation where it's more or less accepted that you're going to be watching at work and everybody has like a really communal atmosphere around the television and everybody goes out for long lunches and watches the Olympics. But it would pretty much completely kill the prime time, which is the only reason why NBC spends like $1 billion. Well, it's not the only reason.
I still feel like people would watch the prime time if they showed it in real time too. That's the part I don't get.
But I would want like the entire like gymnastics is on right now, and it's got like it's just really
it should be on right now. We should be like, oh, everything should be live. They wouldn't show the basketball on tape delay. That's the part that's weird. It's like certain sports are
Right.
tape delayed, and then the other ones they know they can't. But one of my other big takeaways is swimming's kind of boring. Let's be honest.
I think
If it wasn't
the
for the
relays are really
Phelps,
exciting.
the relay is super fun.
Yeah.
But when you're watching like, oh, it's the 800-meter medley.
Right.
It's like, wow, this is going to be 10 minutes long. I'm just watching people swim. And thank God for Rowdy Gaines.
Because he gets so excited.
Rowdy Gaines is Gus Johnson for swimming. He's
Yeah,
like,
it really
let him
helps.
tear it off the wall.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the guy's like way ahead.
Yeah, I think that the one thing that has helped for this Olympics has definitely been the rivalries, because Katie Ledecky and Michael Phelps have been so dominant, and
Phelps
pretty
is-
much like when people get up on the blocks, they're like, this person's gonna win.
Yeah.
It just depends on by how much. But it has helped that, Leclos and Phelps had that beef with the butterfly, that Lily King was doing the finger wag. Like, there's been a little bit of tension. So that's helped the swimming a little bit.
Well, the other thing that's really helped is Phelps is filling that Tiger Woods void that we've all really missed.
Of like, how good can
Well,
this
somebody's
guy?
just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They're just like, I'm the best one. How dare you challenge me?
Yeah.
People love that, and they've missed it. I think as good as LeBron's been, I don't ever feel like we've 100% totally committed to him being that guy, the how dare you challenge him guy.
Sure.
Tiger was the last guy I can remember who was really wired that way, where when you have that guy like messing with Phelps and doing the shadow boxing, and that the thing became the social media meme this
Phelps
week.
face, yeah.
The Phelps face. Like, that wouldn't have worked with LeBron. There's no NBA player that works with. I don't think there's really a football player. I don't think there's a baseball player. Hockey, no.
I
Like, you
think it's
just
also
go through.
pretty
It's Phelps
rare
is the
that
only
those
one.
guys, but LeBron, I mean, who challenges LeBron? Stanley Johnson? I mean, like, who would ever
But
shadow
people
box
will,
him?
though. Like, Draymond punched him in the nuts. Like,
Yeah, but by accident. Draymond was never like, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
he was
Draymond
kind of
cursed him out a little
half
bit, but
accident.
it wasn't like Draymond doing powder in front of the Cavs bench in Cleveland, which is Leclos was basically doing that to Phelps.
right. But and it failed.
Yeah.
It was like a
Yeah.
desperation move. But it reminded me of like Jordan in, I don't know, 92 and 93 when the Knicks were trying to get in his head. And not only did it not work, it just made him mad, and it made him better. And at some point, you're just watching and going, "This is a bad idea. You don't make him mad. This is stupid."
Yeah,
Kobe never got that way for me, and I never felt like, "Oh, don't make Kobe mad."
Right. I always go on a pendulum between how much I like to watch dominance and greatness versus how much I like to see competition and underdogs and comebacks and stuff like that. Like, on one hand,
Yeah.
when Pete Federer and you're watching him and you're just like, this guy's just technically superior to every single tennis player
Right.
I've ever seen. And there's just, why even play? And then every once in a while, sometimes it gets a little dull appreciating greatness. And I think that's what we run into. Phelps isn't like that because Phelps is so, comparatively for swimmers at 31.
I mean, I love having Phelps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phelps is the best.
The only thing that bothers me about Phelps is it takes the attention off of Lochte.
Yeah, poor Lochte.
Yeah.
Lochte had to have at least thought of doing a Tanya Harding on Phelps at least 50 times.
He started with the
definitely under his
hair.
mind.
He thought about it. Yeah.
He definitely thought about it. I think Serena has that quality too. I don't mean to overlook her.
Yeah.
I think Serena's hit some points, and what's weird is the flaw in the Serena ointment is that none of us were surprised when she immediately got bounced from both doubles and singles in Rio. Because it's like she has to almost convince herself to put her heart in it. If the stakes aren't totally there, and probably part of her is like, oh, good, I'm out of Rio.
What did they say? Did she talk at all? Like, oh, I have an ankle thing, or what was like the Rio thing? It was
Who knows?
She just lost.
But if it was Wimbledon, she's not getting bounced like that.
Yeah, that's it's funny because like it's hard to have this in football. It's hard to have. I mean, you can respect the Patriots on like a long-term basis. You can respect the Packers on a long-term basis. You can respect the Seahawks.
Quarterbacks can get there a little bit.
A little bit, but so much of
Rodgers,
it's
I
dependent
feel
on like
like-
if you don't have a left tackle, then like you're
True.
dead.
Rodgers and Brady, a couple other guys, if they're playing an inferior team and the inferior team starts doing the stuff like what that swimmer tried to do to Phelps,
Yes.
you just go, don't do that. That Rodgers is just going to destroy you.
Yeah.
I do think but I like having Phelps. Like, I hope he is able to keep it together. To the thought of him being in Tokyo in 2020.
Yeah, at 35.
If he could be like the relay guy again one last time for
Yeah.
like one last gold, like we'll never see that again. Not in our lifetime.
No, he's been such a huge thing for American swimming, and it's kind of like I'm trying to think right now, like of like whether or not like I've ever had more confidence in an athlete than I have in him.
Tiger.
Yeah,
Tiger to the point where I just felt like any time down the back nine,
he's got it.
if it became a skin situation, I'm betting my life on Tiger.
Yeah.
Phelps has turned into an I'm betting my life guy. Probably 8 years ago, he turned into that guy.
Yeah.
Chris Ryan, this was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Quick break to talk about our friends at Sonos, the smart speaker system that streams all your favorite music to any room or every room. Control your music with one simple app. Fill your home with pure immersive sound. Brings all your music into one app. All your favorite music services. You can control everything from songs to volume to which room it's playing in. You can play in 2 rooms, you can play in 7, play in 10, whatever you want to do. Play a different song in the living room, play one in the bedroom, play one in the bathroom. You can play a special bathroom song if you wanted. Sonos is amazing. I actually have Sonos in my house, and it's really cool. And what I like to do is, because baseball is so freaking boring, I turn the baseball sound off, and then I listen to music and the same thing, and it's almost like a much better version of baseball announcing, because they're not baseball announcers, because baseball announcers are terrible. But check out Sonos. And also, since let's talk about Casper, the perfect mattress sold directly to consumers, an award-winning sleep surface developed in-house with a sleek design, and it's delivered in a small, how did it do that, size box? Plus, its breathable design sleeps cool to help you regulate your temperature throughout the night, which is great for me because my wife is warm-blooded. I don't know if you have a warm-blooded girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, whatever, but warm-blooded people get hot. It's always been a source of tension in the Simmons house. Casper helps out. $500 for a twin-size mattress, $950 for a king-size mattress. Comparing that to industry averages, that is an outstanding price point. Even better, risk-free trial and return policy. They'll deliver it to you. You can try it for 100 days. If you're not happy, they'll pick it back up. Find out why Time Magazine named it one of its best inventions of 2015. Get $50 toward any mattress purchase by going to Casper.com/BS and use code BS. Terms and conditions apply. And now, back to the podcast. All right, I'm here with Trayvon Free, Joel Solomon from the Any Given Wednesday writing staff, 2 Yankee fans.
Yeah.
I don't know how I ended up with Yankee fans on this show, but they're here.
You hired people from New York.
I know.
So it could have been worse. We could have been Mets fans.
We're taping this that's true. We're taping this Thursday afternoon before A-Rod's last game at Fenway Park. I just want to go on the record. It's not going to matter. People will hear this after the game, but the Red Sox I know and love, and the Boston I know and love, and the Massachusetts I know and love, we would throw at A-Rod in the first at-bat.
But are they still those Red Sox? 95-mile-an-hour fastball right in his back. Just a little farewell present. He would no rocking chair, no T-shirt, no signed jersey from the whole team. Fastball in the back.
And the Yankees fans would love that. That would
and the Yankees would love it.
Yeah.
It'd be a bench clearing brawl where none of the Yankees would come out.
It'd be a good daily news headline the next day.
Nice little olive branch from the Red Sox.
If it was a bench clearing brawl, would any Yankee come out to defend A-Rod's honor? Maybe like 3. Chase Headley, just because he likes to mix it up.
CC, if he could get out there quick enough, maybe.
Let's see waddle out.
He'd waddle out there.
Yeah.
All right, so the A-Rod legacy comes to the Yanks in 2004. You won a World Series with him.
Yep.
Highest paid baseball player of all time. Some weird Jeter relationship. Like, would you... I'll go with Trayvon first. Would you do the A-Rod experience all over again? Would you run it back?
No. I don't think so.
What would you do, Joel?
It would be tough to stomach, but at the time...
You get a title out of it.
Yes.
He did help you win the 2009 title.
I mean, I guess you do get, but I feel like you'd have to go back and run the scenarios of like what was happening when we took A-Rod, and what player could we have gotten that might have changed the course of that Yankee history.
Right, so it basically came down to Aaron Boone blew out his ACL playing basketball that led to the A-Rod trade.
And a big part of that at the time was keeping him away from Boston. So
yes.
Right.
To do it over again, I mean, it's tough, but also 2 MVPs in there, don't forget.
For the Yankees?
For the Yankees.
Really? I don't even remember that.
2 MVPs.
I think I blacked that out of my mind.
What would Boston have been like with A-Rod?
Well, that's the thing. So we lose Manny and Nomar in that trade. in the winter of 03.
And then you get all the shit that came with A-Rod, the steroids and the suspensions.
Well, we had the steroids already. We had plenty of those, I think. But no, I think we lose Manny. We don't win in 04 and 07 without Manny, unless A-Rod replicates what Manny did. We certainly don't win in 07. Manny and Poppy won the World Series for them. But I just knowing what in 03 we didn't totally know what A-Rod was like. We knew he was a little full of himself, but I think he had a reputation of somebody who does, just plays hard, takes care of his body.
But he's so
I don't know if his personality would have worked in Boston.
I don't think it would have either. But he's so good. That's the thing. Like A-Rod it's hard to separate the steroids from the stats because you don't know what effect they had on his productivity. But for a player who's probably the most hated sports figure in the last how many years, would you say?
You go sports figure?
I think so. People fucking hate A-Rod.
I'd have to think about that. He's definitely the most hated baseball player.
I mean, what sports figure? Think about, like, when I think about all those New York
you
posts,
go with, like, the Ray Rice types.
like people. Yeah, I mean, but on a longer, over a period of time, like New York media just fucking hated A-Rod for so long.
It seems like the Yankees hated him.
And I remember being at a Yankees game, the last Yankees game at the old Yankee Stadium, and there's this guy, A-Rod's about to bat, and this guy next to me is just fucking tearing. The Yankees are winning, and he's just tearing into A-Rod. So like and he's singled, but the guy still didn't give a shit. He just hated him, and he was just going off about him to pretty much anyone who would listen.
I think Joel kind of secretly likes A-Rod is my takeaway.
My thing is the expectations were so big, and when you were coming in with the core four, he didn't stand a chance. These guys were best friends. They came up together. They won championships together. And I don't know what the comparison would be. If there's like a Van Halen and then Sammy Hagar comes in. I don't think
it's like a hit TV show where they added some polarizing character that
like
never
when they
totally
changed the
worked.
mom on Fresh Prince or something.
and then
And you're like, what? Who's this lady?
Aunt Viv didn't exactly. Wait a minute, and that's kind of A-Rod. He got penciled in. He was supposed to carry on the legacy. Him and Jeter were best friends, and I think he gets a bad rap sometimes with the contract. It's an enormous contract, but you know who else has an enormous contract? Josh Hamilton and Ryan Howard and Albert Pujols.
Yeah,
but
was one of the things he never got credit for, and the reason the Red Sox deal fell through was he was trying to give back $25 million of that contract. Like he was actually, I thought it was a relatively noble thing that he never got credit for. He gave back like 10% of his contract to go from a losing team to play for the Red Sox and try to win a title, which if anyone else had done that, we would have been like, wow,
right,
what a great guy. An awesome human being.
But then when you see the photos and you hear about the Minotaur painting, and you're just
right, and then you think like, oh, it's an ego play.
He just wanted to be liked, and that kind of was his Achilles heel.
That's the thing. He did always just want to be liked. Well, if he goes to Boston,
okay,
and part of the appeal of that trade was they didn't have the quote unquote face of the franchise, right? Nomar, people in Boston liked him, but he wasn't exactly Mr. Dynamic. Manny had kind of had his ups and downs. And they were like, we're going to get the best shortstop in the league. He's going to become the face of our franchise. We're going to sell Nesson with this guy. And there were real reasons. They didn't know Ortiz was about to become Ortiz.
Right.
They didn't see the Manny resurgence coming, all that stuff. And he goes to the Yankees, and he's a third baseman.
Yeah, he takes
which is a waste of A-Rod. It's like if you had Will Ferrell on SNL and you just make him the Weekend Update guy.
Right.
Like it was kind of a misuse of how great he was.
No, I think so. I mean, but you also have to probably think about what happens if you try to get Derek Jeter to move from shortstop.
You couldn't have. You can't get a guy with 4 rings to move. And Jeter was still a good shortstop at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was never going to move. But I mean that shows like how LeBron can go to Miami and adjust his game. I mean, that took real kind of a big move for A-Rod to just step aside.
He was the first ring chaser of the decade. Everyone thought LeBron invented. Actually, ring chasing goes way back, but yeah, A-Rod did a ring chasing move. I don't think he gave up. I think it was illegal for him to give up the money.
to give up the $25 million.
Yeah, I think it was like, I think he had to keep the contract because the players' union's like, once we set that precedent.
Well, that's probably why he said it, because he knew it wasn't going to happen.
Oh, you think it was like an evil genius move?
I mean, maybe.
Well, I
heard that was kind of what happened with Robinson Cano too, where he wanted to take less money to stay with the Yankees after he'd gotten offered more money by
the agents,
by the
Seattle. Yeah,
and they were like, if you set this precedent of taking less money to like be loyal to a team, it messes up everything we try to do for you guys.
I mean, my hottest take on this is that I'm gonna kind of miss A-Rod.
To your
he
point,
was a fun villain. I liked having him around. I enjoyed the A-Rod era. I liked complaining about him. I liked when he came up small in the crunch time, and I don't know. There were things I enjoyed about the experience.
Yeah, I mean, he had big moments. I mean, however you feel about steroids or not, which I'm totally pro steroid, he had big moments that were fun to watch, and
I can't remember any of them. What were they?
I mean, I feel like it's more the milestones getting to like the
focus on 09. Just
he did come through in 09.
He
focus
did.
on 09.
And that was when everybody finally like let off of him a little bit. But I think the big moments for A-Rod were seeing him knock off notches on those different milestones, like the home run totals and the hits total and all those things. He was just crushing Yankee records.
Last year at 40, had a great year.
He really did.
Carried them to.
I think we were talking about people who thought he was like might have been on the stuff again because he was playing
at that point.
so
What do you
well.
have to lose?
Yeah,
Carried them to a wild card.
I guess he could have lost money.
They made a wild card, and I'm interested in what you guys think. The Yankees in the last week have genuinely made me feel bad for him, which was I thought would be impossible. Impossible. And when Girardi's saying, "Oh, I don't do retirement tours," no, that's all you've done the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So to
Mariano,
kick him out
Brett
to the
Jeter.
curb. And also do it like abruptly in the middle of the season when the '96 team is coming back this weekend, not give him final at bats in Boston.
I think that's a token of it going to the top of the organization. The hatred for A-Rod. Like Cashman fucking hates A-Rod. No matter what he says publicly, he's so glad that this dude's
So what
gone.
are all the reasons Cashman hates A-Rod, do you think? Because they had to lose a year of his contract.
Yeah, I mean, they had that big public fight where A-Rod was saying things in the press and Cashman was having to like backpedal on certain things. And this guy's running the Yankees and you're putting him in a position to have to like spar with a fucking player. And
do you think part of it is that they paid him all this money and yet he was cheating? And when they gave him the giant contract, they didn't realize, I guess, maybe that he was cheating. And so they were paying for kind of a false bill of goods.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
they
how I
probably
would feel.
Burned.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of why Cashman is like, fuck this dude. You don't get a farewell tour. You don't get...
It's all. I mean, it's definitely like a tarnished legacy and just the giant headaches that A-Rod came with. But also, I think they genuinely want him out because of production. They were going to release him. Like we've talked about this all week.
Right.
Like if he was hitting like he was hitting last year, he'd be the toast of the town. He's not hitting. They want these contracts off the books. That Teixeira's gone. CeCe's on his last leg. I think they have McCann and Ellsbury. That's it. They want these new Yankees in, and they're like, hey,
they should have let CeCe go like 3 years ago.
What's weird?
Well,
it's
he
weird
almost
that
drank his way out
of all the fan bases, I think the Reds, which is why it's funny that his last road game is tonight. I think the Red Sox fans have the fondest feelings for him for two reasons. One, that trade falls through and that ends up winning us 3 World Series. Hold on, and the other one is Game 6, 2004 ALCS. The glove slap on Arroyo, which 86 years of Red Sox history was leading up to. Our expectation of that was this guy cheated. He's on second base. They're only down by a run. We're blowing this game where we had a huge lead, and this is the Red Sox all over again, and he's going to get away with this, and God hates the Red Sox. And then they review it, and they call him out. And then he's at second base with his, what did I do? And it was just like the defining A-Rod moment.
That's what it took. That's what it took to reverse the curse. And, I mean, it's still painful. That is still
painful for you guys.
Ridiculously
you guys thought you were going to win that game.
Jeter scored.
When that happens, you're like, we're coming back.
2004 is one of the worst years in sports for me personally.
In my life period.
Because you're the Lakers.
Losing that series and the Lakers losing to Detroit, just like it destroyed me.
You were a shell.
Those were 2 championships that were supposed to be guaranteed. We had this super Laker team they built that was supposed to just plow through the Pistons.
Yeah.
And then you were up 3-0, 3-1 against Boston, and you end up losing.
Oh yeah, that was like 4 or 5 months later.
And you end up losing the entire like back to back. Just
When did you know you were going to lose to the Pistons? What game was it?
I think it was.
I knew game 3.
I kind of felt it around game 2 and 3, where it was just like these
Remember
guys
Kobe
might
pulled
fucking blow
game
it.
2 out of his ass.
Yeah,
And then it was like, oh, the Lakers got this. And then the Pistons just killed them
they just
in game
turned
3.
it on. It was I couldn't explain it. I didn't know what it felt like. Oh, this is just the will of the sports gods saying this team.
Yeah, we've had it.
This team's supposed to be champions this year.
And then I remember game 4, Shaq had one of like his great playoff games. And during that game going, oh, this is starting to feel like the 0-2 Kings series. They're just going to pull this whole series out of their ass. Shaq's going to, and then it was like, that was it.
But I feel like the Red Sox hurt more because
It had to have.
It was kind of like how Golden State fans probably felt this year when you're like, oh, we're going to destroy this team. We're up 3-1, and they just
Yeah.
come back. And
Well, that was also an identity loss for you guys because it was like, and
What are the-
I
and it
felt
was
it
the
my
Red
whole life.
Sox.
The Yankee fans, we're like the little annoying brother to the Yankee fans that anytime they want to just smack us in the face.
I
And
mean,
then
it's
that flipped
statistically
it.
You
it's
saw
so
it
hard
slowly
to do.
happening.
Yeah.
It's so hard to
Oh,
do
it's
in baseball.
It was a miracle.
Yeah.
So you had to deal with the pain and then realize this was some like destiny shit.
When Tony Clark hit that ground rule double, that every time that goes in the corner, it just rolls around and people just run around the bases. And that was like the one time it just bounced over. And that could have been the game right there. You would have taken the
was
lead in
also-
extra innings.
It was also the first time, Game 7 when Damon hits the homer early. That was
Yeah.
the first time it's like Yankee fans, especially with the old stadium, till 2 outs, 2 strikes, bottom of the ninth, still had a chance.
Standing up going nuts.
This time it was like, holy shit, this is it. This is done.
It was a weird Yankee team. You look back at it, it kind of lost its soul. There was all those guys like the Kevin Brown types.
Every time I see that 30 for 30, it's so hurtful that when I don't know why I put myself through the pain of watching it, but for some reason when it gets to the part of the Yankees being up by 3 games, part of me still thinks we can pull it out. Even though I know how it ends. I'm like, see, we got it. Look, it's right there. You just gotta win one more game.
What do you remember about the 09 title? Because I wasn't a big fan of watching the Yankees win a World Series. Was there Teixeira had a big moment in
Teixeira
there,
had a
right?
big game.
Yeah.
Matsui was just unbelievable that postseason.
They gave him like special porn for that month.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, they gave him this porn he'd never seen before. He just went on a tear.
I mean, that was also beating a great Phillies team. That pitching staff was ridiculous. But you thought that was like this new. It worked. New era.
Yeah.
Which would
It felt like you were about to get a few.
Yeah,
Like in the early 2000s, late 90s. And then it just never.
And now baseball has just turned into a sport where it just gets to late September and then somebody gets hot for 4 weeks, which is this flawed Red Sox team. It's like, at least we can score runs. Who the hell knows? Like, you might just get hot for 5 weeks and score 8 runs a game and win the World Series.
And call-ups like make it so.
Yeah.
I feel like now.
Have you seen this new kid we have?
Is he
Andrew
one-
Benintendi?
Is he one of the ones you guys had to give back?
Which one? No, not the,
I know you guys.
the Cubans.
I know you guys lost a lot of Cubans.
Yeah, we like to bend the rules with our international prospects. No, this is the kid, the college kid they drafted in the first round, and he kind of looks like Ashton Kutcher in that '70s show.
He almost
Just
hit the
super
home run?
handsome.
Yeah.
He's like Fred Lynn 40 years later. He's got. I mean, he has a chance to be the Boston athlete that gets laid the most in Boston since early Brady. I think it's in play since like 02, 03 range Brady, where Brady could have just walked in at a bar and just pointed at anyone and been like, "Coming with me." I think this kid has a chance.
Boston's needed this. This is he can
We
step
have
into
this
that role.
unbelievable outfield now. Benintendi and Bradley and Betts. It's like,
Who are the Sox though post Poppy? Like, as he brings so much to that team, energy wise,
Does.
and as a leader. Like, where do you?
well, you guys know this. When you have baseball of all the sports, it's just so constant. It's 162 games, 6 to 7 months a year, same guys day after day after day, and then you just yank someone out. Like with Jeter, it took like a year for me to get used to watching the Yankees. It's like, where's Jeter? Oh, that's Didi Gregorius.
Right.
The other, I forgot the other funny thing, how the Yankees are billing this on Yes Network is Alex Rodriguez's final game as a Yankee.
Yeah.
And even A-Rod will not say, I'm done. Like, well, I just want to get through Friday. I don't think he's
Yeah.
coming back. He has one hip. He can't hit a fastball.
I think I saw today the Mariners were like talking about.
Well, he just looks broken down now. You
like-
watch him hit, and it's
See,
like
but
his
now he's pissed.
lower
now-
body's gone.
But the stuff with Girardi, now you're poking the beast. Now
Yeah.
I think this is what they shouldn't do. Let him go out. He's trying to do all the right things. Especially the way with Jeter, there was a base at every inning was being taken out. Steiner Sports had all this farewell stuff. It was a huge money-making thing.
I was at that game.
Yeah.
The last one?
Yeah.
This is amazing. That
you cry?
game was tremendous.
I lost my voice. I couldn't. I still have that. I had really good seats too, and I still have that video on my phone. Or like he slaps that fucking ball, and I was with a coworker from the Daily Show, and we just lost it. We were screaming so loud. Even the game didn't matter. It was just like Jeter just was being Jeter.
Jeter was great. I was always scared when he came. I told you guys this yesterday. I always judge these guys by when they come up against my team. Am I scared? How do I feel? And like, I always felt like Jeter was going to screw us every time he was up. I always felt like he was going to come through. I don't know what the actual stats said. I just know how I felt. I can't change how I feel. I
He
felt like
had
he was going to
that-
get a hit.
Yeah.
He had that magic. Like the only guy who could fucking in his career with a walk-off single to win the game at Yankee
Well,
Stadium.
Robertson blew that
Yeah.
save on purpose. I'm still convinced. They didn't want that night to end because that game was over. That game was
You
over.
think he did that?
No, but
Would you
that
blow a
would be
save on
amazing.
purpose for anyone you know?
For Jeter? Yeah,
You would?
I would.
I
yeah.
would.
Well, now Jeter's a successful media mogul.
And A-Rod,
It all- and he's
The
getting
irony
married.
of a guy who doesn't like to talk about anything personal.
I
deputy
know.
editor in chief, and A-Rod couldn't even get the scoop from A-Rod.
Well, A-Rod's gonna have a better post career, I think, than Jeter did, because I think he's great at TV. I think he's gonna be. Fox is gonna ride him every year. It's hilarious because in TV you have to, when you're doing those studio shows, there's a certain level of phoniness that is a real asset. Barkley accepted, because Barkley's exactly the same in any situation he's in. He's either swearing or not swearing, but he's the same. But A-Rod's like just put on earth to be a TV robot for the next 20 years. You're exactly right, Kevin. And, moving the arms and turning and setting people up. And
I could
he's just
totally
great
see
at
what I
it.
did.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, he was awesome last year. And it was like him and Pete Rose makes no sense. It's like something you would hallucinate
What
if
if
you
he?
Yeah.
What if he got into the Broadcasting Hall of Fame?
instead of the real Hall of Fame.
He would be
Real
honored.
Hall
I
of Fame.
feel like he would love that honor. He would be so.
Like he
I think
gets
the
in
Red
Bro-
Sox should put. I think the Red Sox should have a Villains Hall of Fame. I would totally put A-Rod in there.
They should retire his number 13.
Yeah, just like the 5 athletes we hated the most when we played against them. He would definitely be up there for me. I think he's probably number 1. I loved when A-Rod wouldn't come through against the Red Sox. It was my favorite guy not to come through against the Red Sox. Like, fuck that guy. He sucks. He could never come through.
You'll get. And now you get one more chance tonight. This is
Yeah, well, by the time people listen to this, who knows what will have happened.
He could hit 4. Probably not.
It would be funny if he hit a home run and came back to the dugout and nobody acknowledged him. It was like the prank thing, but it was just real,
for real,
real
totally
hatred.
real.
Hatred, bitterness. All right, fellas. Thank you very much for stopping by the BS Podcast.
Good talk.
Thanks.
Quick break to talk about our friends at Squarespace. They make it easy to build beautiful websites without breaking a sweat, regardless of skill level. No coding needed. Not only does Squarespace provide easy-to-use tools, their state-of-the-art technology ensures security and stability. Millions of people, some of the most respected brands in the world, they trust Squarespace, and so should you. You get 24/7 online support and a free domain if you buy Squarespace for the year, so why wait? You can even design a best-in-class online store with Squarespace's award-winning templates and customizable settings. And with Squarespace Commerce, you get all the tools you need to track inventory, process orders, and send custom emails in one intuitive interface. Start a trial with no credit card required on squarespace.com. Use the offer code BS and you get 10% off your first purchase. It's so easy. Even Joe House figured it out. And he's the dumbest internet person I know. Squarespace.com. All right, this is going to be fun. We have Pat Barker from Any Given Wednesday.
Hey.
Roast Battle finalist. Runner-up.
Yeah.
Sarah Tiana.
Hello.
It was a Cinderella run.
It really was.
You didn't have a lot of roast battle experience.
No, I didn't have a lot of roast battle experience, but I've had a lot of roast writing experience. So
Yes.
that's been just something that I always have done, and I don't get offended easily, so I guess I'm good for it on stage too.
That's what I told these guys, because I think the roast battle should be the fifth. I should replace the challenge as America's fifth professional sport. I was that into it. And in the first night, I was like, that girl Sarah was great. She had the best spirit about the whole thing. And they were all like, are you kidding? Like, we all know her. And I was
my
like,
God.
oh, we got to get her on.
Yeah, she's if you're into the roast battle scene in LA at all, you know who Sarah is.
And
Well-
Pat's like I don't even know what you are of the roast battle. Like, you're like the Mel Kiper Jr. / if Mel Kiper Jr. also played and was really good at like defensive back. I don't even know how to describe you.
I would love to take the title of like the world's foremost roast battle analyst. Like I love doing it myself, and I think I'm pretty good at it. But I'll break down game film all
You
day.
could do both. You could be the
Right.
first guy who's in it, but also analyzes it too. It was the whole thing was amazing, and I also like when the judges also seem maybe more stoned than most of the crowd.
Oh my
I thought it
gosh.
was a great wrinkle.
Well, the very first night, I was the very first battle up.
Yeah.
And I made fun of David Spade. And I had prepared to make fun of Kevin Hart, too, but he didn't give me any notes.
Yeah.
Because I was going to be like, I'm sorry, I can't listen to you right now because my purse is in the green room and I know your friends are there. But I didn't get to talk to him. And then Spade afterwards, like the other day, was just like, I can't believe you made fun of me. And I'm like, you're about to do the Rob Lowe roast. Like, you better
Right.
get ready. I'm the nicest person that's going to roast you. And it's just because I was the first one.
See, that's why Sarah's great. Whenever I do it, I do not mess with the judges at all. I don't antagonize because they're all way more successful than I am.
Yeah.
And I know they could shut me down. Like, I'd be so worried if I went at Kevin Hart, he would just,
He was just like, well,
Like-
the Doug
like I
Williams,
haven't-
Jamie Foxx thing is like the worst case scenario,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to walk into that, so I keep my mouth shut. But Sarah is, she's very like in the moment. She'll go after the judges, and it's very impressive.
If it's the right thing to say, you know.
So how did we get? So on the one hand, we have this society that has become so politically correct, or politically overcorrect, and yet the roast battle, and you just hear the worst jokes and the worst words
Yeah.
and words we're not allowed to say anymore and all this stuff, and it's almost like everybody's agreed. Okay, this is over here.
Right.
It's okay. Which I don't know how long that stays that way. Did you worry about like having like a backlash to any of your jokes?
No, I mean, I guess I never do. I mean, even when I wrote on The Burn, which was Jeff's TV show,
Another one of my favorite shows.
we used to do this thing called Roast in Peace, or like,
Yeah.
or whatever. It was called Too Soon, I guess, was
Too
the
Soon.
last thing
Yeah.
where we roasted a dead person that week, and that was my favorite because I love when someone dies. I think it's like the nicest thing you can do to them, and I know maybe I'm just really messed up, but. Like when Al Davis died, I was like, oh, I don't know how he died. I'm assuming he choked. But I didn't, there's always, something that you can say. And I just think that's nice. That means I'm still thinking about you. And when I write a roast joke, I think it's an honor. Like, I've spent time, I know a lot about you, I care about you, and I care to say something that will lighten the mood a little bit.
Pat agrees with that. Pat asked me yesterday, like, why wouldn't you ever be roasted? And I was like, I can't think of anything worse. My feelings would be hurt for like 20 years. It would be like my idea of hell.
After a while, you just build an immunity to it.
That's the thing. It's almost like
Yeah.
if you're an MMA fighter who's just used to getting elbowed in the forehead.
It's just pain tolerance. You
Yeah.
know, like a piece of you dies, and you no longer have that that emotional like level where you things bother you. Like
What was
I've-
the miscarriage joke? That was like one of
my
the worst
God.
stories I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, so I do the roast battle in LA,
And you have to give notes to the other person. Here's all these things about me that you
Yeah.
can use.
I battled one of my good friends, and Bill actually made me recreate the meanest moments of the battle in a pitch meeting.
Yeah, because I'm fascinated. It's like I don't even totally understand it.
There's been a couple miscarriage ones. My wife and I had a miscarriage, and one of the good ones was when Pat lost his child to a miscarriage. There was nothing funny about it, which is how Pat knew he was the father.
That's a great joke.
I also have
a great joke.
I have very sort of like tight eyes. So one person said, "Pat, why are you always squinting? You look like you're staring into the sun you'll never have."
That's so
just
Oh my
harsh,
God.
and then and then you hug them afterwards.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know how
get
my
it.
wife does it.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
that's-
you don't let her come anymore, right?
She came to my
Oh,
last
does.
one. She was there for
See, there's just
some
like
vicious.
lines that I won't cross as well. Like,
What? I just
yeah.
watched you for 4 days. It seemed like you were
I know.
crossing every line.
Yeah, because I think that there's always a clever, tragic way to do something that isn't like just mean.
Yeah.
As opposed to, because I think it's more important to write a joke that's amazing and clever and smart,
Right.
that also stings, but not one that's
So
going
you
to
like
bring
the
up.
craftiness.
Yeah, I like
Not
the
like
craft.
you're such a fucking hack.
Yeah.
You're just terrible at comedy, and that's like the joke.
Yeah, I remember once somebody made a joke about women not being funny as one of the roast jokes against me. I don't even remember what it was. That's how bad it was. And they go, "Oh, she's just offended because she's a chick." And I'm like, "No, that's just hacky. Like, I'm just upset."
You're
like, if you had-
offended at the lack of
I'm
creativity.
Yeah.
offended that you like, even when I roast somebody that is not nearly as skilled in roasts as I am, or anywhere like success, whatever it is, I don't care who it is, as long as it's someone that I know and respect, I'll roast them, because I've roasted people before that do not put any work into it, and I'm like, if I'm gonna put 2 weeks of my life into researching you, you better be worth it. And I would assume that the jokes on me would be worth it. That's why
We saw some of those unprepared people at the roast battle.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
won't name any names, but I
Yeah.
think they stood out.
And I just think, but you were saying it's such a PC world, and I think comedy is the last form of free speech.
I hope
And-
it stays that way. I really hope like the roast battle and I've always loved roasts. I mean, that was one of the reason I got hired by Kimmel was because he did a roast of Shaq that I wrote about on ESPN.com in 2002, and he was the only white guy literally in the building, and he came out and he did all these jokes, and I praised him for a couple paragraphs in the column, and he just emailed me out of the blue. But they used to have them
Amazing.
on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It
Yeah.
was like Shaq was doing. It was like $9.99. So it was like the Shaq roast was first, and then the Emmett Smith roast was second, which is still the greatest
Yeah.
hour.
That
on
was
YouTube,
fantastic,
probably.
yeah.
That was Jeff's greatest roast performance ever. That was, I think that was Jamie Foxx, Doug Williams.
Yeah. I think
That was
yeah,
the Emmett Smith one.
That
yeah.
was Jeff Ross. Jeff Ross did the. I'd have more jokes, but Moose Johnson stole all my shit because Moose Johnson had come out and he said nothing for 15 minutes. Like he thought it was like a cocktail party or
Oh
something.
my God. Yeah.
But no, it was great, and I'm glad it's become a franchise.
Yeah, roasts
too.
are like, that's the last bastion of free speech. I was pleasantly shocked at how little like negative backlash there was.
It's a good thing. I think, and the ratings went up every night, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
in Montreal, it became a bigger and bigger thing.
It was a
Yeah.
big success. Yeah, and I think as long as it's funny, you can get away with saying anything.
It was a huge success last year,
But it wasn't on TV,
on
right?
television. And even the girl that I battled, this girl Catherine Ryan from England first, and I found her ex-husband like from like 8 years ago.
So you do
Yeah.
Google deep dives.
No, I know. I just like texted my friends from London, like, can you get, like, do you guys, yeah, no, like I just, but I didn't even need to use anything from him, but just in case, yeah, I think it's really important. I don't want you to know what jokes are going to be coming. Like Ralphie should have been so prepared for fat jokes, and he could have had a
You would
rebuttal
have thought
every single time.
he might have guessed it was going to come up at some point. It was almost like he didn't know it could get personal.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And then he felt, you could tell he was just totally betrayed by Jeff at the end. Could you see when
Yeah.
you were in Montreal and afterwards, do you feel like it raised your profile? Because I felt like that.
Oh, yeah.
So you noticed.
Yeah, I noticed. I mean,
So what happened?
I'm sitting here right now. That's probably pretty
That's
awesome.
true. But that's like a very tiny.
Yeah, I mean, I got to meet like Blake Griffin, and like so now, like I love.
polarizing
He's so funny.
subject.
Oh,
Polarizing
sorry.
subject in the No, it's
Yeah.
Trayvon and Brendan, one of our other writers. We had a healthy debate in the writers' room about whether he should be allowed to get 15 minutes in Montreal or not.
Oh,
Whether he paid his dues.
right.
Brandon was adamant. It's a good debate.
I know. He
Whether
said.
Brandon's like, I don't get to just go on the Clippers and shoot threes in some random November game.
Yeah.
And Trayvon's like, not a fair comparison, and went back. It was good. But he
But
was like pretty good, right?
Maybe he was really good, and I actually got really mad at him, and I was like, I can't, but like, oh, I'm just going to try to dunk now. How would you feel about that?
Right.
He was like, you should start with free throws. And I'm like, I'm already getting help from Dwight Howard on free throws. I don't need your help.
Sarah told me that she invited him to the semifinals of the roast battle tournament.
Yeah.
Like
Did you
like
see
a
the
guest or like a?
Oh, I know.
Just to attend.
Oh, okay.
I asked him, yeah,
Like
and
a
then I wrote a
date?
tweet about it. No.
Okay.
And I got him to approve it first, but yeah, he
Oh.
loved it. I said,
Yeah, she texted me and said I invited him to the semifinals, but he couldn't make it. But that's okay. He's never been to a Final Four before.
Ooh.
Anyway, I was like, she's roasting.
That's a great
roasting
one.
Blake now too.
oh, I did the whole time we were there too. He could we were at a bar and he couldn't get a drink, and I'm like, this wouldn't happen if Chris Paul was here. Like, I would have a drink right now. Like, this would be so much easier. You can jump over a car, you can't get a whiskey. Like, how hard is that? But he was super funny about it and really cool. And
It makes sense that
Yeah.
you would think like somebody who's at the highest level of being an athlete would be comfortable being able to go up on stage as long as they could like remember the beats and kind of punch it. But it's basically stand-ups like at least what 50% confidence,
yeah.
60,
Oh
Yeah, I don't think that he's
70?
lacking confidence.
100.
80.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people can write good jokes, but not a lot of people can tell them. You know,
Because I was thinking the finals with you because I was 100% of the bet. I tried to figure out how I could bet on you actually, and it turns out not a lot of illegal Caribbean betting action on the roast battle, but you told one joke that didn't do well, and I could tell you got rattled.
yeah, that was my first joke, and
You were kind
I
of
was like,
it was like the
wow.
first time I was like, whoa, Sarah, she's
Yeah,
human.
I know. It was like when Dolph Lundgren started bleeding
got-
in
you
Rocky
got-
4, and you're like, oh my God, he's human.
She's cut. The Georgian is cut.
Yeah. And then I did the joke about him looking like a 49er, and that just bombed, and I was like, oh, I'm out. I'm
All
done.
right, so that one
So I just totally
part
choked.
Canadian audience.
Yeah.
It was a misread of the audience. It seemed like the Canadians, just certain American references just went right over their heads.
I've been Monday morning quarterbacking it the whole time. I just got rattled, and then I literally blanked. I just blanked. I couldn't remember anymore.
That's why I felt like that guy Jimmy who had the clipboard.
Yeah.
I think props should be illegal.
Yeah.
Tom Brady doesn't get to just bring a fucking clipboard out when he's calling plays.
He will for the first 4 weeks this season.
Oh, you just roast battle Tom Brady. I didn't like that.
Oh, that was so
Sorry,
good.
please don't
That was
fire
a good
me.
joke.
I
No,
need
that
this.
was a
So
good
good.
joke. I'd never fire you.
No,
You're the best.
Yeah,
No, that was a good joke. I'll accept that. We have a quarterback whose owner sold him out and sold away our first round pick and made him look very culpable.
I bet Garoppolo is going to do so good.
So you Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah, I just feel like I should have just opened. The thing with the roast battle is, as a stand-up, I would never go on stage with completely untested material in front of a live audience with millions of people watching. Like, I would be, prepared. And for the other battles, I have been able to run them like out loud, say them out loud to friends or Pat or whoever it was. Like, be like, does this sound right? Oh, I should change this order, whatever it was. And for that one, I didn't. And so everything was just so fresh and new in my brain. And that's part of the test, and Mike won that test. And yeah, I'm like, I should have opened with, he's a big film buff. That's why there's always a thick layer of it on his glasses. Like anything like that. I think I should have saved the kids on a hard drive joke for him. I had planned it for him,
Yeah.
but it came
Almost
up
like
with
you used
Earl.
it too early.
I used it
Yeah.
too early. So yeah.
But that's the thing too, because it was a rebuttal. So like if you don't use it for Earl in that case, you might not be able to use it later.
Yeah, you never know. It's a chess game. Like up there, I have 12 jokes in my head. And I chose to go first because if it went to overtime, he would have to go first.
Belichick would go second.
Yeah.
He'd want the hammer at the end, I
he
think.
would always go,
Yeah.
and he goes for it on fourth down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I just was like,
We
I
need some nerds to
anticipated
figure
it.
out. We need some nerds to figure out if it's more advantageous to go first or second.
Second.
I would say second,
Yeah,
right?
I'm the nerd who's figured it out for you. Absolutely.
Oh, I forgot Mel Kiper Jr.
Yeah. No,
Mel Kiper roaster.
you want to, especially if you have like a really good closer. Because if somebody, like I've gone first and then the other person, it's like a dead heat and then they hit you with a closing punch and then you can't rebuttal it. There's nothing you can do. It's over.
The other
You
thing
know?
I noticed,
Yeah,
I think it's
that's true.
effective when the sneaky rebuttal joke before the joke, after they go, some people are doing, which technically feels like cheating.
Yeah.
But they were allowing it the whole time because the judges were stoned out of their mind, I think.
Yeah.
But like, you'd be like, oh, that's a great joke there, insulting comment. And then you reset and you go, and it's like you get a double
And I should
whammer
have done
in there.
that. I had the opportunity to do that with Mike after I said a joke, and then it was a rebuttal, but I just couldn't think of another thing to say, so I just let him go. I was just completely rattled by the end. My brain was mush,
Listen,
and I couldn't think anymore.
It's still a win because you made the finals.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
became
yeah.
America's roast battle sweetheart.
Yeah.
And now when you do interviews, they don't have to start with, so what's it like to be a woman in comedy?
Now it's
the
what's it
first
like to be a
question.
woman in roast
I'm
battle?
Now
a
it's
lady.
like, what's it like to be the roast battle? And then the second part is, so what do you think of whatever? You must get that all the time.
Oh, all the time.
Because Katie Nolan, who I'm friends with, that's like the go-to question and
Oh, really?
with like
what's
sports
it like?
media.
Right.
Yeah, so women in sports media. And it's like, Katie's just good. It doesn't fucking
Right.
matter.
Like, do you
She's-
like Michelle Beadle?
Yeah, like who cares?
They
Like,
try
if
to
you're-
make them enemies.
Yeah, Ramona Shelburne, and I was emailing with her after I think it was New York Magazine did this huge piece about Ramona, who has developed like just a shitload of sources and is a really good basketball reporter. She's starting to branch out, and the whole piece was basically, she's a woman in the sport, and it was like, she's just good. Like everyone thinks she's one of the best ones. That's the angle.
Do you get that when people find out you're a man who's into The Bachelor?
I do.
What's it like to be a man who's...
What's weird is there's a lot of men in the Bachelor has now crossed over because it's so fun for men to make fun of it.
Yeah.
But
But you guys, it's like a soap opera. Everyone's secretly in love with it.
I'm a little tired of it. I'm you know what I'm tired of is just the over the top racism on Bachelor
Oh,
in
yeah.
Paradise. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's probably our last really truly racist institution. There's never been a black bachelor. They've had like 30. There's never
Yeah.
been a black bachelorette. Every time there's on, it's always like they have one or two. And they become like the Gonzaga in the March Madness, like, trying to buck the odds to get to the Final Four. They never make it, but the producers always tell them they have to stay on for 2 episodes
Oh,
before
yeah.
they get voted
Right.
off.
Absolutely.
And it's unbelievable. It's really like our last truly racist TV franchise, other than like the Duck Dynasty and that kind of. I guess maybe there's other ones. How
There's
do we
gotta
get
be.
Pat on Roast Battle?
How do we get Pat on Rose Battle?
Yeah, one of my goals for 2017.
I thought
It's
he would
gonna
be
be
on
a-
it this year, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he, especially
meant-
after seeing some of the people that were on it, I think Pat. So one of my goals for 2017 is to get Pat Barker one of those 16 spots.
Nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate
if I have
that.
to do fucking hashtags and whatever else I have to do to get Jeff Ross like better pot, I don't know what I need
Yeah.
to do, but
Tell Jeff, yeah, your endorsement would go a long way. But you know what? I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to take it one roast at a time. Just keep my head down. Just keep working hard. And,
Oh my
you know,
God.
the good Lord willing, I'll be saying some awful shit on Comedy Central next year.
You should totally be on them. You'll be on it next year.
well,
I
and
have
we'll
a
see.
feeling.
I mean, who knows what happens to Sarah last year after you've seen some Super Bowl teams? They get in the Super
Yep.
Bowl. They have a
Yep.
tough loss. Next year they go 5-11. You just don't know how they handle that big moment. They're replaying it over and over again. You just don't know.
But this could be her second year Miami Heat situation where she came up short the first year.
Ooh.
And now she's going to go back with revenge on the mind next year and just murder everybody.
Waking up at 5 a.m, writing
That's very
writing
possible.
roast
Or
jokes.
this is my Oklahoma City moment where I choked at the end, but instead I'll just stop
just change
roasting
tunes?
altogether.
Yeah, just give up. I got really close.
I'll
and
just be like, no, I'm
it's too
going to
much
start
effort.
sewing. Yeah.
That is kind of what it did.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I battle back and forth. Lately I'm in the camp of I kind of wish he had stuck it out one more year. I do feel like I think what Chris Bosch said on my show, I really think that was a huge part of it, is the baggage of how close they were and how painful it was. And it was like he just wanted to get away. It's like a bad breakup.
I totally agree with that. I can only imagine how hard that feels. But to go to Golden State, like,
I know.
I mean, if you can't beat them, join them. Whoever tweeted that, some basketball player tweeted that, and I was just like, that is it. Like, I mean, coming in second for me, I would have rather come in 8th. You know,
Seriously?
Because it's just like you're so close, and then you just choke at the end, and you're like, how is this happening? Not necessarily. I mean, yeah, I choked. I'll just say that
don't
because that's
think
what
you
people are going to say
choked.
anyway.
I
I'd rather
wouldn't
just
say you
keep it
choked.
out
That's
there.
harsh.
I'd rather just keep
I
it
think
out there.
choking is too harsh. I
Well,
think you basically had 4 jokes.
yeah, that
Your
didn't
opener
work.
didn't work like you thought it would, and then the 49er one was just a coaching miscalculation.
Yep. Yeah.
I think
Four-
that's part of the roast battle.
4 is
Yeah.
such a small sample size.
Yeah.
Like
It's so hard.
Like the best baseball players on earth go 0 for 4 all the time.
Yeah.
And
Like
she went
every
2
other
for
game.
4.
Yeah.
That guy Mike was really good though.
Oh, yeah,
I
he's
mean,
so
you had
good.
to you had to go 4 for 4 to beat Mike. I feel like.
Oh, for sure. That's I was anticipating it going into overtime, and that's why I chose to go first. Because when I went against Sam, I went first, and then that's why I killed it. Like we went to overtime, and when I said the joke about I'm just like your real mom, I'm not going to think about you after 5 minutes. Like that was great, and that closed it out. And then there was nothing he could do to come back from that. So,
Do you want to give
strategically-
us? Do you want to give us your Atlanta Falcons before we go quickly? Your 1 minute Atlanta Falcons preview.
my 1 minute Atlanta Falcons preview, like what I think is going to happen this
Yeah.
year. Oh my God. Well, I really hope that Julio stays healthy the whole year. I hope Matt Ryan
Do you like Matt Ryan? Are you thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways?
sideways at this point. I don't
It
know
seems
if
like
it's
he's
in
the
it.
QB that inspires the most ambivalence of any expensive QB with the fans. Like if you insult Matt Ryan to a Falcons fan,
Yeah.
they don't defend him. They don't join in. They're just kind of they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you know, he's Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it's not often you get like hardcore NFL fans who like you insult their team and they're like, I can see your point of view.
Right.
That's reasonable.
Those are some fair Matt Ryan points.
Yeah. That's why we had to pump in sound because we're all just like, oh, okay, that's fine.
I
We
know,
understand that loss.
And somehow
That makes
you didn't
sense that we
lose your
lost
first
there.
round pick for that one.
Yeah, I know.
What's worse, sound pumping or like some balls that naturally deflated? Don't get me started.
Yeah.
I got it. I
mean,
back
also videotaping.
Bill, do you have
practices,
opinions on
you know,
that
like, it's a whole-
Well, I'm fine with it now. I think Brady's going to be in the log cabin, just getting madder and madder.
Oh
and
yeah, no,
he's
that's
in the
the
middle of
problem.
nowhere.
Is like
Yeah.
when, the last time they did this, he won a Super Bowl the next year.
This
It went-
whole sports
Please
year
make
is
Tom Brady mad.
It's
Yeah.
just going to be him and Westbrook going completely insane, like cyborg mode, and,
Yeah.
and just swearing
that's what
revenge
I'm
on
hoping
everybody.
happens with
Yeah.
Westbrook. I'm really hoping
Except when
that
Brady
happens.
gets mad, he channels it into success and teamwork and winning, and Westbrook is going to channel it into field goal attempts
Oh, I love it.
and offensive charges.
Well, I think it's going to be better for him.
That's my hope, anyway.
When I was watching them in the finals the whole time, I was like, well, there's no captain. Like, there's 2 Chiefs and not enough Indians. And I feel like there needs to be a chief. You have to have a LeBron on the team. And, you know, it's going to be weird for him to be in Golden State because there are a lot
Now
of
you got a lot of
Chiefs.
alpha dogs.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think Klay
It's like-
Thompson is also the best player on
That's
that
like
team. I
Jeff
don't know why
Ross in the
everybody-
roast battle. You know who the stoned alpha dog judge is.
Yeah, Ross is the he's the LeBron of the roast world for sure.
Yeah.
Jeff and I wrote jokes.
No, because LeBron can act.
They have basically the same hairline.
Jeff and I wrote jokes for Jimmy for the AMAs for 2 straight years in like the middle of last decade.
Wow.
And I've never seen anything like it. Because it would be like 10 o'clock. You'd have to just give him enormous amounts of food. Where he would get stoned right before. He would eat 17 chicken parms. And then would proceed to write 90 minutes of, and come up with all these jokes. Everyone else is in like a coma.
Yeah. Well, that's
He might
because
not
Jeff
be
doesn't
human.
start working until way later after
Yeah, he's
everybody
on a
else has been
different-
there.
He's like on a New Zealand sleep zone cycle or something.
Yeah, when we rode on the burn, we would get in at 10. He would come in at noon and then didn't like anything until he was stoned about 4.
Right.
And then
Man, he liked everything.
And then he's like, now let's get started. And you're like, we have to go home, Jeff. What's happening?
He should live in like Alaska or somewhere without daylight. All right,
Yeah.
Sarah, you want to plug anything?
No, just roast battle. Sarah
We-
Tiana on Twitter.
We have to figure out stuff for you to do.
Yeah, I would
I
really.
don't-
I'm a
I
huge
don't want you to
fan
leave our
of
world.
you and your show.
Well,
so
thank you.
anything that I could possibly do
Thank
here
you. You're
is
very
an honor.
beloved on the Any Given Wednesday premises. Pat Barker next year, 2017.
Make it
Montreal.
happen.
Start
Make
training.
that hashtag.
Start
Get that
training.
going.
Barker 217.
I love it.
2017.
Yeah, Barker 2017.
Pat Barker.
Let's hashtag that.
Somebody who added some sort of mean joke to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. If you have to roast me in the process, go for
just
it.
Yeah,
instead
roast
do
Pat with your
Fat
hashtag.
Barker 2017.
Fat Barker.
Hashtag Fat Barker 2017.
Trayvon like that one.
She's a natural.
And that will start trending. Well, that's more likely to trend than Pat Barker 2017.
Yeah, I'll go by the name Fat Barker if it gets me on television. I'm not above that.
Thanks to Sonos, the smart speaker system that streams all of your favorite music to any room or every room. Control your music with one simple app and fill your home with pure immersive sound. One simple app brings together all your favorite music services, and you can control everything in every room of your house. You can even add existing music services, or you can discover something new. Check it out, Sonos. And don't forget to check out theringer.com. We are halfway through month 3. Almost halfway through month 3. I continue to be proud of the content we're putting out there. Please check it out. Please support that site. And don't forget about our 7 other podcast feeds on the Ringer Podcast Network, especially the Ringer NFL show is about to get super relevant over these next few weeks. We're going to preview stuff. We're going to be putting new hosts on there, all kinds of things. I might even make an appearance or two. The Ringer NFL show. And I know people are wondering about this, but Cousin Sal and I will be back this season. So that's happening too. It's going to be year 10 for us. Yeah, year 10. We started 2007 in the fall, the year the Patriots went 18-1. God damn it, why did we go 18-1? And don't forget about Any Given Wednesday, 10 p.m. Wednesdays, HBO. First 7 episodes are on HBO Now and HBO Go and HBO On Demand. You can check out the new splash page we have on HBO Now that includes every episode, every bonus clip we've done, including Weed Round with Seth Rogen and Ricky Williams. And that's it. Enjoy the weekend. We have 2 podcasts coming next week, so enjoy that. And goodbye, A-Rod. Take care.